Hello and welcome. It's Debs here with a little something to share with you. I want to talk to you today about creation, the fact that you are a born creator and you're doing it all the time, whether you know it or not. And you can learn to understand the principles behind it. You can learn to understand what it is you're doing and then consciously create way more of what you do want and not so much of what you don't want. So everything in your life, if you look around in your life, and I'm sure you have tons of stuff in your life, everything that is in your life, the good, the bad and the indifferent, is there because you created it. And sometimes that can be a huge sticking point for people. We can look around and think, oh my gosh, there's no way I created that. So one of the first things is to either just put that to one side and not worry about it for now, or actually get your head around the fact that you are the creator of your own life, which at some point is incredibly helpful to do. So moving on from that, there are principles behind creation, like there are principles behind gravity. There are, you might call them laws, principles, whatever. They are things that remain the same always. They're the same for all people. They are not personal. It's just how it works. So gravity, for example, works the same way, whatever it is you're doing. You know, if you pick up a pencil and drop it, it's always going to go towards the floor. And understanding the principles, the laws behind gravity means that we can fly. And the laws, the principles, what's going on are the same whether you get a piece of paper and make a paper aeroplane and glide it across your room, or whether you get 6 tons of metal and get that to go up into the air. Understanding the principles will make that, will enable you to make that work. And the principles are the same for the tiniest of things and the biggest of things. And it's the same with creation. If you can create poverty, you can create wealth. If you can create illness, you can create health. If you can create toxic relationships, you can create healthy relationships. The creation and the principles behind it, what you do, are the same. Now, most of us, and I know me, I created lots and lots of things in my life that I really didn't want in my life. I created a lot of misery for myself. But understanding and seeing what I did and then doing the same thing but for things that I wanted, that the principles of that are exactly the same. But most of us, like I did when I was creating in that way, create without any realization of what we are doing. And then when stuff shows up in our life, we're really surprised and kind of think, well, I had nothing to do with that. And that can happen both ways. You know, there are lots of amazing things. Even when I was in the depths of despair, there were also really, really good things in my life that I created. And I would be surprised by them, surprised by the bad and surprised by the good, and just think that I had nothing really to do with either of them. So let's talk about what are the principles behind creation that we can learn about. We can learn to understand them and then create stuff that we want. So the first thing is awareness of being. So it is and that sounds, all way out there, but it's really, really ordinary. It's just being aware of something that we are, or something. It's like having that feeling within ourselves that I know I can do this, or I know that is mine. For me, I can see areas like sometimes if I, when I've been moving house, for example, I'll go and I'm house hunting and I'll go into a particular house, and sometimes it's like, yeah, this just isn't my home. It seems to tick all the boxes. It seems absolutely fine, but I just know this isn't my home. And equally, I can go into a place and the minute I walk in, I know it's mine. And then all sorts of things can happen in between. But if I hold on to that, knowing that it's mine, I don't, things could happen that make it look like I'm going to lose the house, I'm not going to live there, it's not going to work out, whatever. But if I keep the faith with that knowing that I felt, there will be a way that something amazing will work out for me here. So it is that, who are you aware of being? What are you aware of being? What do you become aware of in any moment? When do you have that feeling of, yeah, I know I can do that? And even if it's something in this moment you haven't got the money for, the skills for, any of those things, the first principle to creation is awareness of being. So aware that that is something that is within you, that is something that is yours. And then the second principle is faith in that awareness of being, just sticking with it. And I know when I look back at all the things that I created in my life that I didn't want, I would kind of be like, oh yeah, that's going to happen. I know it is. No matter what I do, no matter how I try to change things, I know that's what's going to happen. I would absolutely keep the faith that these things were going to happen to me or not work out for me or whatever it was. So it's keeping a faith with it. Now, you don't have to kind of be on it all the time, but it is just a knowing within you that is this thing. Like when I was talking about the house, it's just like, yeah, somehow or other this is going to work out in my favor. I know that. So you have awareness of being, you have faith in the knowing that you've become aware of this, you want it, you believe that it's yours, and then keeping the faith that the power of life within you has heard that and is moving, creating, moving, doing things that you have no idea how that is going to bring this into being. And then the third principle is it's the principle of prayer. But I think most of us get confused about what prayer is. And I'm not talking necessarily in the religious sense, and you don't have to go on your hands and knees and put your hands together and close your eyes, but there is a going inwards and a speaking. But prayer is not begging for something that we don't have. It is thanking for what we know is already ours. It is praise and thanksgiving. So when we have that awareness of being, and then we have that faith to stick with it, and then if we are thankful and grateful for what we know is already ours, those three things are what brings things into being. And as I said, we can do it. We do it all the time with both the good and the bad. We are aware of something, like if we go back to that example of buying a house or, somewhere we're going to live. We move in, we walk in somewhere and we have that knowing. Then we keep the faith with that. And then we get excited, we live within us. We know we're there. We're kind of go, oh yeah, my sofa's going to go here. My telly is going to go here. We are thanking, being grateful, being in a good energy about what we know is coming. So there are many different ways to translate that, but the three principles that kind of always continue to come back round are that awareness of being, they are keeping the faith with what you know to be true, and they are being grateful and thankful for what you know is yours. So I don't want you to take my word for it. Everything that we do here is about an exploration and putting it to you to play with it, see. I can really, really see and put words on now many, many of the things, both good and bad, that I have innocently and accidentally done this. And now I'm really playing in earnest with doing this on purpose, consciously creating and going into these principles, diving into them more deeply to see what's going on there, just in a very, very playful way. So if there's been something useful for you, if you've enjoyed this video and you want to join me, I'm doing something called 365 Days of Cracking Creation. So every day for an entire year, you will get an email to point you, to nudge you in this direction of remembering that this is how it works, and diving much, much more deeply into the reasons why we get in our own way and don't manage to create things, what's going on. So looking at this for an entire year, so that conscious creation becomes your way of being in the world, not just something that you flip with. It becomes who you are, what you do, and how you operate. So thank you very much for listening. I hope you have a great day, and hopefully I will see you somewhere soon. Take care. Bye for now.